You've lived enough life to know what truly matters. And yet, when it comes to travel, it's easy to pack like we're preparing for every possible version of ourselves. After several years of frequent traveling to Europe and around the US, I want to help you break free from just that. In this episode, I'm sharing why I choose to travel light, not just in my suitcase, but in my soul, and how you can too. Whether you're jetting off to Paris, heading to a weekend getaway, or planning an epic road trip like the one I just took, this is your permission slip to simplify, elevate, and pack with purpose. Picture yourself in Paris, not as a tourist, but as a traveler, immersed in beauty, culture, and connection. Over 6 unforgettable days and 5 enchanting nights this October, you'll explore the City of Light with a small, kind-hearted group of women. Together, you'll wander charming neighborhoods, savor exquisite cuisine, mingle with locals, and experience iconic landmarks in a way that feels deeply personal. This is Paris as you've never seen it, intimate, inspiring, and infused with art, culture, and soul-stirring joy. If this piques your interest and you'd like to know more, reach out and send me an email at michelle@shopstylefinder.com or over on Instagram. And I would love to invite you to an information session that will tell you all the details for the Wildly Alive retreat in Paris. So many women over the years have asked me to take them to Paris, and so this is your opportunity. This October, from October 6th to the 11th, we will spend 5 nights and 6 fun-filled days in the heart of Paris, exploring as you never have before. If you'd like to know more and sign up to join us, send me an email and I will fill you in on all the details. So I look forward to taking you to Paris. Welcome to Diary of a Midlife Woman, where style has soul, confidence takes center stage, and life doesn't just get better with age, it gets bolder. I'm Mary Michele, transformational style and confidence coach, founder of Style Finder Boutique, speaker, and your ultimate cheerleader. Here to help you break the rules of midlife, not just rewrite them. Because this isn't the season to shrink or fade into the background. It's your moment to feel wildly alive, unapologetically seen, and deeply fulfilled. Through raw, real talk on style, confidence, and self-love, life-changing makeovers, interviews with experts to demystify midlife, and stories that spark your soul, we're going all in, boldly, beautifully, and without limits. So grab your drink of choice and let's turn the page together. This is your diary. Let's make it unforgettable. Welcome back, my friends. Welcome to episode number 275, The Midlife Woman's Guide to Traveling Light. Now, I am just back from a fabulous spring break trip to New Mexico. I took my son for his senior year spring break and kind of a grand finale. It was an early graduation present, and we had a fantastic time. We visited 3 great cities. We saw so many things. He's gotten really into wildlife photography, so we did a lot of wildlife adventures. We did some hiking, we did some exploring, we went to zoos, we went to art museums, we ate, we drank, we drove. I believe we logged 1,000 miles in a 9-day period. And I tell you what, my glutes felt it. But it was fantastic. But what we did on this trip was, drum roll please, we traveled light. And I remember when we were packing, my son Dylan asked me, he's like, oh, do I need a big suitcase? I said, oh no, we're taking a small suitcase and a personal carry-on, and that is it. We're not checking bags. Now, it's kind of funny because I actually have status on the airline that we flew, and I could have checked bags for free, but I know better. And I have experience in traveling, in moving around, and going to multiple locations. And personally, I just choose to travel light. I don't like to lug a lot of luggage in and out, back and forth, up and down. And luckily, we didn't really have to go up too many stairs. Our first destination was an Airbnb, which was ground floor, very easy to get into. And the other destinations were hotels. So we either had an elevator or we were on the ground floor. So no real big reason to travel light, except we had a sort of a mid-size, we had a Toyota RAV4 for the week. And two of our suitcases, my big bag, his bag, that pretty much took up the whole trunk. And maybe we had a little bit more room, but not a lot. And so I didn't want to feel like our car was overtaken with luggage, which can make it more obvious that you have luggage in the car and can make it more of a target. One of the big things that I think about when I'm traveling is blending in. Believe it or not, coming from this dramatic who loves to stand out with my style when I travel, yes, I like to blend in, at least in some ways. And one of those ways is by traveling light. I don't want to be the obvious tourist that has 57 different bags, that has to have help to move every time we go somewhere different. I want to be able to move seamlessly, freely, easily, and feel like we're unencumbered. I want to just be able to grab and go, rush out the door, because well, first of all, there are many opportunities that we have to go somewhere, do different things, change our plans, or maybe our flights change. Like when we were coming back, we actually ended up getting on a different flight to fly from Albuquerque to Atlanta. And it was so funny because I walked up to the counter. We had our bags with us, walked up to the counter, and they said, "What about baggage?" I said, "This is it. We're good to go." And I laughed. I smiled to myself. I was like, yes. I was giving myself a high five. Like, this is why we traveled light, so that we could easily grab that flight. There was another woman who was waiting to get on the same flight, and she was so worried. She was like, "Oh my God, what about my luggage?" She was terrified. Like, especially going to Atlanta, I've heard stories about a lot of luggage getting lost in Atlanta. And I think that's been a big deterrent for me as well. But I think it's just made me more mindful about packing light. If I have to take more than what fits in a carry-on and a personal item for a week-long trip, that's a problem for everyday clothes. Now, I know that there are certainly going to be situations where I'll have to dress up or I need more, shoes or need more something. But I have learned that there are many, 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 both tangible and intangible benefits to packing light. One is you save money. I mean, sometimes you do get charged on a checked bag. Maybe you get one free on one airline or another airline's going to charge you. Some airlines charge you even for a carry-on. So learning how to streamline gives you far more options. And sometimes when you get that bargain ticket, it turns out to be, the same price as regular fare by the time you pay for bags. So you'll certainly save money. But I like to think that when I take just what I need and it fits into a carry-on, it reduces decision fatigue. I don't have to worry about what am I going to wear today. Okay, I've got limited options. Let me see what I can come up with. On this last trip to Albuquerque, we went through some major temperature changes. We flew into Albuquerque and I think it was like upper 70s, low 80s. And then we drove to Santa Fe and it was in the 50s. And then we drove to Taos and it was in the 30s. And with all those temperature changes, you can bet we loved layers. Now, I did not want to haul a big, heavy coat around Albuquerque. Now, I will tell you, there was a moment in Albuquerque where we were getting ready to leave Albuquerque to go to Santa Fe. And I told Dylan, I'm like, you know what? Maybe we should go buy another suitcase and go buy heavy coats. We might need those. So I was open to that possibility. But at the last minute, I decided, you know what? I think we're good. I think we're good. We're not going to be out hiking in the snow. We've got plenty of clothes to wear. We've got the perfect clothes to wear for the hikes that we were going to do. And everything else is going to be indoors. So it worked out really well. We had exactly what we needed. There was not one point in time where I had wished we had had a heavy coat. So I was glad that we traveled the way we did. And if you want to know more specifics about what I take and how I layer and all those things, you can follow me on Instagram. I always post outfit pictures, but I will definitely be posting some pictures this week in the Facebook group, Diary of a Midlife Woman. I didn't take pictures of every single outfit, but I took pictures of most outfits. And what was interesting on this trip was that the way I pack, I like to just pull out everything in my closet that I think I want to wear. I just indulge myself. I'm like, okay, what might want to wear this, might want to wear this. And then I quickly whittle it down. And then I get to the basic essentials and then I just kind of think about it for a few days. And I think about it and then I'm like, oh yeah, maybe I need this. Maybe I don't need this. Maybe this is overkill. What about this? And so I just kind of like let it marinate. And what happens when I do that is I come up with all these possibilities. Like I had pulled out, I think, 4 pairs of jeans. And at the last minute, I thought, you know what? I don't need these. But one big dilemma for me is always shoes because I want to make sure that the few shoes that I take, I don't travel with a lot of shoes, go with pretty much everything. Now, I was looking at somebody's pictures the other day on Instagram. She and her husband were on their honeymoon. And I noticed they weren't gone that long, but every day in her pictures, she had on a different pair of shoes. And I'm thinking, girl, I would not want to be carrying your luggage around. So I love fashion. I love style. I have a lot of shoes. You can see them. If you're watching the video, you can see some of them behind me. But when I travel, I'll take 3 pairs max, usually 3 pairs. But if it's just an overnight trip or a weekend trip, usually two. I like to have a backup. I always have a backup. I have been in New York City before where shoes have broken. I've been in places where something has happened. My sneakers have gotten wet, or something has just given me blisters. And so having that second pair of shoes as a backup is always welcomed. But first of all, let's talk about the emotional baggage behind overpacking. Why do so many people feel the need to overpack? I think overpacking it's kind of like overeating. It's one of those things that we have all these clothes and we just want to take them. Sometimes it's security. I know when I was younger, it was like, ooh, it's almost like our security blanket. Clothes can give us that sense of ourselves, that sense of security. And it can be really easy to say, oh, I might need this. I might need this. I might need this. But I want you to think about this. When you're coming from that place of, well, I might need this. I might need this. It's almost like scarcity. It's basically saying what I'm bringing is not enough. And it's almost as if you're saying, I am not enough. Now, I know years and years and years ago when I would pack, I would take a lot of things just in case. But it was less about what I might be doing and what I might need. And it was more about how I wanted to feel, how I might feel. But this really stemmed from a place of not feeling comfortable in my own skin. It stemmed from a place of, I don't want to feel fat in my clothes. If I eat too much, these might not fit. If I don't want to look fat. What if I put these on and I feel fat in these? So it came from the scarcity place, this place of feeling like I am not enough just the way I am. And so a lot of that has shifted. I have gotten rid of a lot of that baggage. And now I can just look at what do I want to wear? What is going to mix and match and give me the most options? But oftentimes, we as midlife women, especially for moms, we're the ones that always have the things, right? Like I've always got the Band-Aids and moleskin for my feet in case I get blisters, or the nail file, or tweezers, all the little things. But we don't have to have everything. And I know, especially going to Paris, all the times I go to Paris, their French pharmacies are very well stocked. I don't need to take everything because if I get there and I need something, and there have been times that I have, it's generally right around the corner and it's easy to get to. And so I really invite you to start thinking about letting go of the need to over prepare, letting go of the need to have everything. We don't have to have the answers. Now, if we're traveling with our family, I know we can be the go-to people, but let me pose this question. What if you are not always the solution? What if they have to figure out the solution for themselves? That actually could be a life experience that is worth having. It could really help to not have the solution for your kids and say, you know what, I don't have any of that. Why don't you go out and see if you could find some? Or you're going to have to figure out how to fix your own shoelaces. Now, there have been times where I've had to do all sorts of wacky stuff on trips, and I've made things work. I have been very, very resourceful. I remember when Jim and I were on our honeymoon to Antigua, I had bought these beautiful Jack Rogers sandals. They weren't what probably the classic Jack Rogers sandals that you think about. They were a little strappier and they had this medallion in the middle. And somehow, the first time that I wore them, they broke. They broke. So, you know what I did? I got out my sewing kit and I had dental floss. And somehow I was able to repair these Jack Rogers sandals with a needle and dental floss. I made it work. I was resourceful and I was pretty dang proud of myself for that. I was like, look what I did. Yes. I don't have to go crying to anybody or go get a new pair of sandals. I mean, granted, I had taken other sandals, but I loved those. I wanted to be able to wear those and I was able to fix them. So think about this. When we come from a place of I am enough already, I can fix things. We can do hard things. We can figure things out. Marie Forleo has a great book called Everything is Figure Outable. Like, everything is figure outable, especially on vacation, right? Like, we are resourceful people. We don't always give ourselves the opportunity to be resourceful. But I think when we pack light, it's like, okay, it's like we're asking the universe, show me how I can be resourceful. But when we come from a place of fear, fear of not having enough, fear of not being enough, that's a different story. We could be resourceful all day long, but we still might feel like, ooh, I'm not enough. I'm not wearing the right thing. I'm not this. I'm not that. And so, what I encourage you to do is really set yourself up for success. Bring those pieces that are going to make you feel like $1,000,000 and the pieces that are going to help carry your entire wardrobe for the trip. Yes, you are going to wear things multiple times, but that's okay. I know for somebody like me, I am very neat, or at least I try to be when I eat. And I think I got something on one of my shirts one time in 9 days, and I was able to get it off pretty easily. But I didn't have anything that was stained or didn't spill anything, luckily. So I was very grateful for that. But I felt like I've got enough. I've got all these beautiful options, and there are many different ways I can wear them. So it really helped me to stand in the truth of who I am. This is who I am. This is what I want to wear. I know there were a couple of days where, like, I was wearing an outfit that was almost like what I had on the day before. And I'm okay with that. I am okay with that. I'm on vacation. I'm traveling light. It's kind of what you do, right? It's not about having a brand new outfit every day. Now, do I do that at home? No. But I did it when I was on vacation. But generally, actually, I'm going to say this, I don't think I ever wore the same thing twice. And I don't mean the same item. Of course, I wore the same item more than once, more than twice, some more than twice. But I never wore the exact same combination more than once. And I was proud of that. I was very proud of that fact because I brought a lot of layers that I could mix and match, and I almost made a game out of it. It's like, let me see how many ways I can wear this. One of the pieces I threw in at the last minute was a black it's like a black tank. It looks kind of like a camisole, but I can wear it as a top. It's a sleeveless black shell, if you will, and it has lace at the neck and lace at the sleeves. And so it looks beautiful layered under a sweater. It looks great layered under a top. And so for me, it was that second layer that gave me a little warmth, gave me a little bit more coverage, added a little bit of style to my outfit. I wore that thing probably 4 or 5 times. And I'm like, wow, because I almost never wear that when I'm at home. It's a great piece. I don't wear it that often though. But what's interesting is a lot of people think, well, if I don't wear something at home, I won't wear it on vacation. And I will tell you this, that is totally not true. There are a lot of things I wear on vacation that I almost never wear at home. There are a lot of things I wear at home that I would never take on vacation because it's too bulky or it's too limiting or it's not versatile enough. And so I want you to really think about what is my travel wardrobe and what are the clothes that I wear at home and where is the distinction? But our luggage can also, we overpack. Our luggage can also be a metaphor for what we carry emotionally. Are we carrying around a lot of baggage? Oh, you've heard, oh, she's got a lot of baggage. Well, do you want to be the woman that has a lot of baggage? Because with baggage, with physical baggage, can come mental baggage. We have to worry about who's going to help me do this, and how am I going to get my bags checked, and who's going to put my heavy suitcase up on the rack if you're riding the train. It can be a thing. Where am I going to put that? Is somebody going to steal it? My sister and her family are going to Italy this summer, and I keep seeing all these reels about people getting their luggage stolen on the train, or here's how you wire it up so, you can keep it safe. And I thought, well, if you've got 3 or 4 different bags and you're taking the train, that's a lot to worry about. And there's a greater risk that something will be stolen. And so traveling light definitely has its benefits in that situation. But let's talk about, what does traveling light really mean? And I'm not just talking about packing fewer shoes. What I'm talking about is paring down to the essentials. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not talking about like just, a white t-shirt and a pair of jeans and that's all you're going to wear the entire trip. That is not what I mean. But I mean the essentials in that. Now, I'm not going to say no frills, because you know me, I like my frills, but I'm going to say the essentials, meaning core items, and you're not packing 4 or 5 shirts just in case. When I packed for my trip for Santa Fe, I wore everything. I wore everything I took. When I went to Paris back in February, I wore everything that I took. And that's what I mean by essentials. You're not packing extraneous stuff. That stuff that's like, well, this is a maybe, this is well, I might need this. You're packing only what you know you need. So if you think about just packing the essentials, what is essential for your trip? Because what this gives you is freedom. Freedom to explore. Freedom to decide, hey, we're going to take a day trip somewhere. Freedom to, hey, we're going to change hotel rooms. We're going to decide to spend 3 extra days and we're going to go explore the south of France. It gives you freedom. You don't have to worry about, oh my gosh, I've got to get help. I need a big car. First of all, I need a big car to haul my luggage. Because if you've got multiple people in your party and you all have 2 or 3 bags, you're going to need a massive car. And especially if you're going to Europe, that is not always available. So packing light has so many benefits. It gives you the opportunity to decide, hey, we're going to actually take the train, take the Eurostar, we're going to go over to London for a few days, and then we're going to fly out of there. It gives you the option to be free, be flexible. And it just is this sense of freedom. We could walk out of the Airbnb or the hotel every day and load up. It took 2 minutes. It wasn't like we had to play Jenga with the luggage and figure out, well, what's going to fit where and how are we going to balance that. We just stuck it in the car and go. We had a little, I don't know what you call it, the black thing that the cover that you pull down in the back of the RAV4 that covers your luggage. It fit beautifully. We didn't have to worry about, throwing stuff in the back seat. We could throw our coats or our snack. Always have a snack bag in the back seat. That I always have my food. But when I travel light, I just want what I need. I don't need a lot of extraneous stuff. Now, don't get me wrong. I always dress well. And I actually have another podcast. It's episode number 86. It's called Travel Chic, Pack Light, Dress Well. Because I'm a big believer in packing light, but dressing well. There is an art to it. And it takes a little practice, but with practice, you will be able to master it quickly. Traveling light also means that you feel stylish, you feel empowered, and you feel in control of yourself and your wardrobe with less. Now, one of the big benefits of this is it reduces decision fatigue. Imagine deliberating between, well, do I wear this shirt or this shirt? I'm like, you know what? What's clean? What did I wear yesterday? What are my options? Let me do this. A lot of what I wore on this past trip to Santa Fe or to New Mexico was based on what we were doing. What's the weather like? How many layers do I need? I know I posted one picture. I think I had on 5 layers. I had on a dress. I had on a vest. I had on a jacket. I had on a kimono. It was just like all the things because we needed all these layers. And I tell you what, I actually got quite a few compliments on my style when I was in Santa Fe. And I know one day we went to Santa Fe and we went to this fabulous interactive experience. It's called Meow Wolf. If you go to Santa Fe, you need to put it on your list. but make sure you get tickets. But it is immersive, it's experiential, it's a lot of fun. It's very cool. But I know that I dress for that. So I thought, okay, we're going to be indoors. I don't want a lot of layers, don't want a lot of, heavy stuff. But I did wear some layers because it was a little chilly. So I wore things I could mix, I could match, and put on pieces that were lightweight layers so I could easily take on and off. But I walked through Meow Wolf, didn't have to carry a coat, didn't have to worry about, am I too hot, am I too cold? It was just right. It worked for what we were doing. And then we went to dinner. It was fine. It was perfect for that. But it's about reducing decision fatigue. I mean, for me, it was like, okay, what are we doing today? What did I wear yesterday? And how can I repurpose that? How many layers do I need to wear today? Those are my questions. And the other thing, I took 3 pairs of shoes on this last trip. I took my cowboy boots because I love them. And they're easy to walk in. They're old gringos. They're brown. I love these. These are my boots. Like I put these on and I feel like, yes, these are my boots. And so when I wear those, they make me feel fantastic. The other thing I took, pair of sneakers, because we were going to be doing some walking. And then I wanted to take some sandals. Just because I knew it's going to be hot in Albuquerque, I like to have something I can just throw and go if I need to run out to the car or run down the hall in the hotel. But also, I knew we were going to hot springs, so I wanted to make sure I could have something to wear walking around the hot springs in my swimsuit that was waterproof. So I had 3 pairs of shoes, and that is one of the big decisions that factors into what I take. What is going to go with those 3 pairs of shoes? Now, I did bring 3 pairs of jeans. I had a skirt and I had a dress. And I had a pair of leggings. And so the leggings I wasn't going to wear with sneakers. That is, some people would. That's not my vibe. But everything else could go with any of the other 3 shoes. Any of the other 3 shoes. All depending. And it was kind of surprising because when I was packing, I was thinking, okay, the jeans are going to go with the sneakers, the boots are going to go with the dresses and the leggings. And then I realized, you know what, the boots actually go really well with the jeans. All the jeans I brought were straight leg, and I realized either I could tuck them into the boots or I can wear them over the boots. And they actually worked out really well, even better than expected. So that was kind of a nice surprise, and it gave me even more versatility. Because if I wanted to wear my boots, I was not limited to a certain bottom. So that was definitely a bonus. But traveling light, what this really meant to me was creating ease and joy, not stress. Now, I will tell you what I did. I did put a lot in that small suitcase, and I used an air compressor. And so every night when we got to the hotel, I'd have to pop open my big plastic bag, and then I had to sort everything through it, get out what I needed for the next day, and then repack it, reseal it, shrink it up, and then put it back in my suitcase. But honestly, it wasn't that big of a deal. It wasn't that big of a deal. If I had just put everything in my suitcase, I would have had to fold it, unfold it, go through it, all the things. Sometimes I use packing cubes. This time I wanted to shrink things down to be able to get the most bang for my buck, be able to get the most pieces in my suitcase. And it worked out well. It actually created less stress and more time for fun. Now let's talk about my signature packing formula. Now this really depends on where I'm going, what I'm going to be doing, and what the weather's like, because the weather dictates so much. But typically there are 3 key outfit formulas that I pack. Number 1, a column of color. Now, in this case, I did take 1 column of color. I had a black tank and a black skirt. And I wore that, I think I wore it once. I didn't end up wearing a column of color as much as I thought I would, or as much as I would if I'd gone to Paris or New York or somewhere else. But what did work for me was my second formula, jeans and a base layer, which my black tank with an overshirt, which sometimes an overshirt was a sweater. Sometimes an overshirt was my Stevie denim shirt. Sometimes my overshirt was a sweatshirt, and then a jacket of some sort. The jacket could have been a denim jacket. It could have been in my anorak. It could have been another jacket. I'm trying to remember. Oh, I did take another jacket, a Ponte knit blazer. It was a Liverpool blazer, this leopard print from a few years ago, and it's got some weight to it, but it was nice and substantial, and it worked well. It was casual enough. It's got almost like it looks like it's got a hoodie attached to it, but it's just really a button-in. It's called a dickie that has a hood. It looks like a hoodie. And it's funny when I went to TSA, they're like, "Oh, you can take the jacket off, but leave your hoodie." And I'm like, "Oh, they're attached. I can't just take one off." So jeans, a base layer, an overshirt, and a jacket. And that gives me layers, gives me versatility. Now, my third packing formula, I like to take a dress that can also be worn as a skirt. Now, what I mean by that is I can layer a sweater over it, or I can layer shirts, I can layer pieces. It's not just a dress that you wear by itself. So usually it's very streamlined, not a lot of detail, very simple. I took one we had last year at Style Finder. It's got an ivory skirt and a black sleeveless bodice with a mock cowl neck, or sorry, a mock turtleneck. And that worked really well under a denim shirt. I wore a gray belt. I wore a denim jacket. I wore a kimono. I love to layer. And then I could just remove layers as I needed to, but I never really needed to. So, my go to travel capsule includes a neutral base, layers, and statement pieces. So, think about that your neutral base layers, your other layers, your second layers, and then your third layer or your statement pieces. I didn't take that many statement pieces, but I did take a few. And those are the pieces that are a little bit more memorable. They're going to stand out. They're kind of going to carry the outfit. They're what's going to bring in some flavor. So those are going to be a little bit more memorable. But things like my denim shirt, that's what I would call a layer. Like I could wear that. I could have worn that every day. And I wore it a lot. But it was like a chameleon. It kind of took on the flavor of what I was wearing it with. And then I also like to bring jeans that can be worn with both boots and sneakers. I did the same thing in Paris. Jeans that can be worn with sneakers and my boots. Because if it's going to be cold, I'm not wearing my sneakers. I'm wearing boots. Here's my secret weapon accessories that can change up your look without adding bulk. Kimonos, my friend. Who has heard me talk about how fabulous kimonos are? I love kimonos. Now, I did take two. One was kind of for just wearing as like a lounge around the house kind of thing. But I did end up wearing it out on the last day because we were back in Albuquerque. It was warm and it just worked. Um, but I did take another kimono and it worked out really well. Scarves. Scarves, I tell you what, I take a lot of scarves. I'm wearing a scarf now, but scarves, the tiny little scarves that you tie at the neck, are great for keeping your neck warm. Larger scarves, they can change the look of your outfit. They can keep your neck warm. They can keep you feeling great. Hats. I never travel without hats. Never. And they can change the look of an outfit completely, whether it's a beanie, a beret, a fedora, whatever it is. But I choose hats that are functional, not just fashionable. So when I wear my hats, it's because it's cold, or I want to keep my hair out of my face because it's windy, or I want to keep the sun off my face. So wear a functional hat and you will be rewarded. Now, here are a few tips to help you to travel lighter. First of all, choose a smaller suitcase on purpose. It's going to help you to streamline. Having things like an air compressor, or it's this big Ziploc bag with this. It's actually a pump. Mine's manual. You can get electric, but it sucks all the air out of it, and it gives you more room. Packing cubes can really help. I always have a packing cube, at least for my lingerie, my socks, my intimates. That really, really helps. Plan your outfits by day, not just by items. So I like to lay things out. I put them on my grid that you can see behind me, or lay them out on the floor. How many outfits can I create? Ideally, you're using my 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method or a variation thereof, where all your tops go with all your bottoms. That's how you get maximum versatility. And that is the secret right there. And bring pieces that mix and match easily and that make you feel fabulous. You don't want to bring something just because it works, but you don't love it, or you don't love the way it fits, or it makes it just doesn't make you feel great. So bring pieces that you love that mix and match easily for unexpected weather changes. Because I guarantee you're going to go somewhere and you're going to have everything planned out and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, the weather changed. What do I wear? When you have a couple pieces that bring that versatility, you will be prepared. And if you're not, you can always go out and buy something. So I challenge you, next time you travel, pack half of what you think you need and double your confidence. double your courage, double your sense of resourcefulness. You don't need more stuff to be more you. You just need to trust your style, trust your intuition, and trust your joy. Let yourself be free, because it will truly transform how you enjoy your trip and how you travel. And when you love traveling and it's not a burden, you're going to do it more often. That is something that I certainly desire to do. Now, if you love this episode, share this with a friend who loves to travel or certainly could use some tips on packing light. I hope this worked well for you. Please go listen to episode number 86, Pack Light, Dress Well, and let me know how I can support you. I will see you next week, my friends. I love you all. Thanks for joining me on this journey through Diary of a Midlife Woman. I hope today's episode left you feeling inspired, empowered, and a little more in love with the woman you're becoming. Remember, midlife isn't a crisis. It's your time to rise, to shine, and to fully embrace the magic that's been within you all along. If you love this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a glowing review, and share it with the midlife woman who needs to hear this today. And if you're ready to dive deeper into your own transformation, schedule a Get Acquainted Call today. Until next time, stay bold, stay beautiful, and remember, the best chapters are still waiting to be written. This is Diary of a Midlife Woman, and your story is just getting started.